You have seen now 3 different systems, and we will start with a discussion. And my first question goes to Alessandro. Alessandro, you have nicely showed us how the system from Fuji works, but we have also noticed the system also shows a lot of false positive areas. Do you see a problem in that? Don't you think that we are very often see irrelevant findings?
Yeah, that's a great point. Thanks, Stefan, for the question. And of course, congratulations for this beautiful meeting. With regards to false positive, we have already published a couple of months ago the first study on GI endoscopy showing that false positive is not a big issue when you do colonoscopy. And also, it's not going to impact the withdrawal time. We have recently also completed another study. We compared the false positive impact of 2 different systems, the Fujifilm, the KEDAI, and the GI Genius. We were able to demonstrate in a head-to-head study that the 2 systems, they do not generate too much false positive. They were very, very similar in terms of false positive and also including a major false positive that can impact the quality of examination. So I would say in general, you may have a couple of false positive when you're nearby the polyp, you're resecting the polyp, but after that, the false positive are very minimally impacting the quality of your colonoscopy.
Mm-hmm. Another question to you. In the studies, I think it has been shown that there seems to be no influence on the withdrawal time, or maybe you correct me, but when we find so many more polyps, do we have to plan for the colonoscopy in the future 60 minutes? What do you think?
I do not have a question. I would like to address this question to my Kaminski rather than me. So this is going to be the discussion of the future. Of course, the more we improve the system, more the system, AI system are trained, more they are able to do also polyp characterization. This will give us more capability of deciding what has to be resected, what has to be left, or when we can adopt the resect and discard policy. So it takes a little while, but very soon we will have a much better system that will allow us to do same time examination without any problem on our colonoscopy time.
Thank you. We are also together now with Dr. Mori. He is now in Norway, and I wanted to ask him, I think when we discuss about the AI systems, at the moment we have the impression as gastroenterologists we need more time. But how can the system save time for the gastroenterologist? So we have seen with the Olympus system, it recognizes the ileocecal valve as a polyp. That is one point. Second, we have problem of documentation. What is there in the pipeline? How can the systems help us to save time during the examination?
Thank you very much for invitation, Stefan. A fantastic question. Actually, I do agree with Al's idea. I don't think the extension of the withdrawal time is evil, but because it may contribute to improvement of the quality of endoscopy. And actually, when it comes to the false positive finding, actually, we are doing this kind of false positive prediction under the endoscopy, even without use of AI. Let's say if you find a kind of suspicious area, you will check it and confirm it if it is a polyp or not. Actually, the use of AI visualizes this process in a more explicit way. So I think the making a false positive prediction with use of AI doesn't make any bad sense. And also, I would say a little bit extension of the withdrawal time will rather contribute to an improvement of the quality of endoscopy.
Thank you. So when the point is that we find more polyps, we will improve our adenoma detection rate, we will be better, maybe with some more time or not. My question is now to Michel. Do we have to rewrite the chapters of the follow-up intervals in the future?
Yeah, I think that it's currently happening, honestly speaking. I mean, there is a growing data supporting less intensive surveillance intervals. We don't know yet how should we adjust to the AI systems or to the adenoma detection rates that we are having, because we know that when we have a high-level detectors, they will detect more, so they will bring the patients earlier. And those who are detecting less, they will suggest longer surveillance intervals. And I think that there is this very nice move toward understanding that we should guide our decisions on surveillance intervals based on actual risk of cancer in the future, not the future risk of polyps, because people are not dying of polyps, people are dying from cancers.
Mm-hmm. Another question to Alessandro. I think some years ago there was big discussion on the resect and discard strategy. Now we have seen your polyp very nicely. The system tells you this is an adenoma. You have nicely shown the resection. You have checked the resection margins with the help of AI. Is it really necessary to perform an histological examination of this polyp? Can we discard the polyp?
Again, AI will help us. As long as the AI system will have a confidence of almost 100% giving precise histology prediction, it's like having a certification of what you are removing. At that point, probably we will save some money from avoiding histology on small and diminutive polyps. We know from previous series the incidence of cancer, small or diminutive polyps, is very, very, very minimal. So I'm not scared to adopt in the future this kind of policy of not having histology based on a double evaluation. So my personal evaluation using the latest technology like BLI, X1, iScan, whatever it is, confirmed by AI. So AI will confirm our feeling or will change our feeling, but anyway will guide our decision at the end.
Another question to Alessandro. You have tested several systems. What is the latency of the AI systems? Are there differences between the systems? How is this?
Oh, very good point. So I personally tested about 4 to 5 different AI devices. My feeling they all have same latency time. And I want to be very positive. All of them, they are working extremely well. So there is a lot of space for everybody. The problem is that the adoption in European center is still going very low. So I wish that everybody will start adopting AI in their own center.
Thank you. I would like to ask now Andreas Müller, my colleague. He has also tried several AI systems. Andy, what do you think? The new system, does it only help the average endoscopist or only the highly trained endoscopist? You have performed more colonoscopies than we all together. You have a great experience, but you use the system. What is your opinion about that?
Thank you very much to be on this stage as a non-academic person, and I believe a lot of our spectators are in the same position than me. We are performing every day colonoscopies. We spend time, 7-8 minutes with retrieval time, and I believe that's like an angel that is sitting on my shoulder. And at least if I see the mucosa, I have a control system that shows me these green pop-ups. So it helps me, and we know in the afternoon we are getting tired, we are getting older, so we have a system who checks it. And I love the system even as an average colonoscopist in the daily routine work.
So the conclusion is that you would definitely recommend to buy such a system for daily colonoscopy.
I would say so. As a non-academic, I have, of course, seen all the studies. They show this as well, and I believe it's not time-consuming, but sometimes a little bit. We will see on a video a little bit more complicated than the average colonoscopy. But I have looked at my time. I didn't lose much time.
But now we are customers, we have now several systems, and we honestly have to ask, which system should we buy? Are there any studies comparing the system for the decision to buy which?
We have to ask the professors. They spent the whole day on studying this. I'm more in the routine. But I can show you, for you, a little present. Please, next movie. We started with a tandem. To see if the Medtronic or the Olympus system is faster or better. I cannot say yet, of course, but it was very interesting. It's like in a football game who makes the first goal. And interestingly, the Medtronic is working even with NBI. Here, TXI, you see the quality of the picture of the X1 Olympus, of course, is great. But you see how this different system works. I believe here we have a tie. Then next movie, please. On the next movie, we will see that's sometimes confusing. You can go to the next video. And here I see here a polyp, a question polyp. And then as we've seen from Professor Repici as well, sometimes you have these green rectangles all over the place. I see here a polyp, I concentrate, I drive NBI to characterize, and then suddenly you see more and more lesions. So this is a little bit the problem that you get lost because you see several different smaller polyps and you cannot concentrate. You see now another one, is this relevant or not? This is sometimes difficult, but you see that the systems have to be compared, surely. I never use this during the colonoscopy, both systems, because that's too much for the brain, but it's interesting to see here the comparison. Here again, on the left, the Olympus, on the right, the one from Medtronic. You can stop the movie.
So I think we can conclude that the system seems to help us, but they don't take over our responsibility. And I think we are very impressed of the new systems, but we have to go back to evidence.